This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our partner, Audible.
Yes, it is. So we are partnered with Audible. That means that if you are looking just to check it out, you don't want to put your card in and just take the dive. You can get 30 days for free on us. If you go to audibletrial.com/JATG or click the link down below, you'll be taken there. You can sign up for 30 days for free and just test it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on there that you can get for free, a lot of Audible exclusives. But what I really like about Audible is that out of the hundreds and thousands of audiobooks that they have, if you decide to purchase something, that is yours forever. Like if you decide not to carry on your subscription or you want to take a break or whatever it is, you can always go back and listen to that book whenever you want through the app on the internet. Doesn't matter because it's yours. So once again, you can get that for 30 days for free on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG.
Boom, Johnny and TheGreg are live again. If you are watching, thank you for watching. Do us a favor, hit that little thumbs up button down there, subscribe, share with your friends, comment, do all these fun-filled things that help the algorithm and help us. Is there an algorithm in Facebook for watching podcasts?
Sure, yeah. Like
Yeah?
it will just videos. Like if you watch in general, it'll start to recognize what
Figure
you
stuff
like.
out.
Yeah, and it will. Yeah, it'll do
That's
that.
true. It's kind of actually scary. But anyway,
They're watching, man.
yeah,
They're
I digress.
all watching.
I digress. Okay.
Always watching.
We got some stuff to talk about.
A little bit.
I'm going to talk about something that happened on Thursday that I did not see coming, and I'm so happy it came. I feel like a new man. It's amazing. The Bears won, folks. The Bears won, and not only did they win, they dog walked the Washington Commanders, which I didn't think they would do that. I thought if we won, it'd be like a miracle field goal or something of that nature. But holy cow, we went out there and we dominated. And now it's like I think I told you this at our D&D game. I don't know shit about football anymore. I've realized this because I'm watching and I'm thinking we have no shot at anything. And then it's like this entirely new team came out to play.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this isn't at all what I thought. I mean, it's great, it's happening, but I don't know if this is a mirage or if this is the real thing. And I don't know yet. So I think by the end of October, I'll figure out what kind of a team we got. Yeah. So I do want to say one thing. It also happened on I guess you could say not the eve, the day of a famous NFL football player named Dick Butkus died.
Yeah.
I know nothing of Dick Butkus except the guy. I think he tried to do a sitcom that didn't last long, but I remember watching the pilot and I liked it.
I'm gonna look that up.
But from what I understand, he was just a demon on the field and a teddy bear off it.
Okay.
And I wanted to throw it to you because I'm sure your father watched Dick Butkus.
Yeah. So I'm gonna I looked that up. He did. Oh, he's on a couple episodes of the Bernie Mac show. Inside Schwartz. Hang Time. Yeah, Hang Time. 1988 to 2000.
What?
It was
for a decade?
Yeah. It ran for no.
I'm sorry, that's 20 years.
1998 to 2000.
Okay, sorry. I thought you said 1988.
52 episodes. He was Coach Mike Katowinski. So that was one of his bigger ones. And he did some acting.
Yeah, he did. From what I
just some stuff. He had 3 episodes of MacGyver. Necessary Roughness. I remember that. He was in that movie. You remember that movie?
I do. Is that Scott Bakula?
Yeah, Scott Bakula.
Great. That's a great movie.
11 episodes of Blue Thunder. When helicopter
with Bubba Smith.
Yeah. Yep. Bubba Smith. Yeah, he did quite a
Yeah.
bit of acting.
Okay.
So
Okay. Well, R.I.P. Dick Buckus, and it was kind of
yeah,
fitting that
absolutely.
the Bears won that day that he died, which is weird because that happened when Walter Payton died. We went up into Green Bay and we were like 14.5 underdogs, and we ended up winning
Yeah.
by a field goal. So, but that was cool. It was fitting. It was fun. I don't know if I'll see a win the rest of the year, so I am going to cheer
Dang
this
it.
one on.
And I was happy. I mean, you guys you didn't go a year because that was
Yes.
the kind of the worry
Yeah.
before is that you're going
Thank
to go a
God.
whole year.
Might as well have been a freaking year. My God.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, but my thing on Dick Buckus, and I sent you, someone had made a highlight reel of him. I believe it had like some kind of metal music in the background of
Okay.
just him annihilating people. Because Dick Buckus was playing football when you could hit the quarterback and you could run full speed into it.
Not only could you hit people,
Oh God.
You could try to decapitate them.
Just annihilate people.
Yeah,
And
they said some people said like when he hit you, it wasn't just the hit as much as he was trying to corkscrew you into the ground.
yeah.
And if you watch, he would do a little finish, like you would almost call it dirty nowadays.
Yeah, you would. You
but
would.
Back then it was clean.
If he hit
football.
you and then he put a little twist and like throw you down. I mean,
yeah.
But and we've talked about this with my dad. Hates the Bears like with a white hot passion. Will never want the Bears to win. We'll watch a Bears game if the Packers game isn't on. He will watch the Bears game to watch the Bears lose and just giggle and just just that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anytime Dick Buckus was on screen, and as we just saw some of his movie roles and stuff like that, anytime you'd see Dick Buckus, I remember my dad going, Dick Buckus, man, he was mean. He could play football. Like my dad had a lot of respect for Dick Buckus. Yeah. And honestly, I didn't understand it because I wasn't watching enough football and they didn't do these like highlight reels and supercut films and stuff like they used to. But now through the magic of YouTube and everything else, especially with his recent passing, he was not only his recent passing, but he was at the Bears game, I think the week before he was being honored for something. He was already in their Ring of Honor.
No, he was there. Yeah, he was there for a long time. He was there when they played the Packers.
Okay, yeah. So he was there to kind of promote that. And, I'm sure he was up there.
Opening season, Green Bay, Chicago.
Part of the reason the rivalry is so massive because in his time, it was neck and neck, him
and Nitschke, Ray Nitschke.
So, yeah. And
do you know they both grew up? I might have this wrong. They both grew up in Chicago. That's absolutely right. But I think they went to the same high school together.
Oh God, really? They played high school ball together?
Please, like, I know there's some Chicago Bear Packer historians that are going, what? No, that never happened. Like, I know they grew up in the south side of Chicago, both of them. And I think they attended the same school or they went there at the same time. I don't know if that's 100% accurate, but it was something like that where they were really close. And I didn't know that.
Could you imagine being on an offense, like an offensive lineman
back in the day?
And you got Dick Buckus and Ray Nitschke lining up across from you. Oh my.
Yeah. Like in high school, you mean?
Yeah. Like a high school player. And you got, again, because I didn't watch a lot of highlight reels, I didn't realize how big Dick Buckus was. Because
especially also back in that day.
He was a monster.
Yeah, he was a monster, which is funny, guys, because if you think of it, I believe he was 6'4", 240. Back then, we're talking about in the 70s is when he played. That's a big dude where I think offensive linemen averaged 250.
Yeah. It was just in general, like if you see a guy that's 6'4", 240 out in the world, you're like, that's a pretty big guy. You don't think that's a professional football player.
Right.
But back in the 70s, he was a big, and just mean. So I'm usually not one to watch a lot of classic football games. Like there are channels that play, we're going to play the Washington and New York game from 1977. I'd be like, why are we watching?
Yeah.
But then you watch some of those highlight reels where those big hits happen. You're like, ooh,
Yeah. Never been to a playoff game. He never went to the postseason. He was on
Yeah.
horrific teams, but yeah, from what I gather and what people said that actually watched him as I was listening through it on the radio and stuff, I was I guess there is an episode. You remember the Brian song about
Yeah.
Brian Piccolo?
Yeah.
Okay, so James Caan fancied himself kind of a tough guy.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was playing the role, and they had Dick Buckus in that movie.
Hmm.
And so what they were doing was they were doing a filming of a practice or something like that. And so their job was to just thump him. Movie will make it look like he got hit
Yeah.
hard, and James Caan kept saying, "Come on, guys, I'm tougher. I can handle this. You just give me a good hit. Give me a good hit." I guess he did it so much where he was starting to egg on the defense, and Buckus said, "Fuck this. Like, I'm gonna fucking hit this dude. Like, he wants it, I'm gonna hit him." And I guess he hit him, and they had to stop production for that day because he knocked him out.
Yeah.
He knocked out James Caan. Like, he knocked
That's
him
funny.
literally out. They had to stop production. There was one guy that said, "Oh my God, I think he killed him."
I used to
But-
I kind of missed that. It was on MTV for a while, the show called Pros versus Joes. Do you remember that show?
I do remember that shit.
You'd have these average dudes, and like the average dudes were in shape. Like they were like keeping it together in their post playing years, but they weren't professional athletes, and they're taking on professional athletes. Now, I remember watching a guy who just is to shit talk soccer players.
Okay.
And so they had him, all you had to do is go up against this professional soccer, I think he was a goalie,
Yeah.
and they would chuck a soccer ball at you, and you just had to try to get the header before this guy could.
Okay.
This guy had such a vertical. Like, he would go up and jump. He's not a big dude.
Yeah.
But literally, like, his knees are by one guy's head. And he's just like, dink. And he's like pushing this Joe around. He's like, come on. I thought you were a tough guy.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm like, wow. So
yeah. Have you ever had that experience, Greg, where you felt good about yourself at some sort of a skill, and as you watch it on TV, you don't really fathom the speed and the velocity and the strength behind athletes? Did you ever have one of those moments where you were up against an athlete and you thought, "Oh, I get it now"?
No.
No?
Because
Never had that.
Because if any time I had an opportunity to go up against a professional athlete,
Yeah.
there was something in my head that would say they're a professional athlete for a reason. You don't have a prayer.
You never had that moment of let me test myself.
No, I guess
No.
the closest I came is when I was still training in martial arts, and I was a low belt at that
Okay.
time. I don't even know if that was maybe a green belt or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the guy who ran the school, he's like, he was always very cautious about adult sparring, because like it could go bad quickly.
It could go bad. Yeah.
So he brought in what he thought and they were black belts from a different school over in Madison. And he's like, I just want you to kind of spar with my guys, work with them. And so I'm sparring a guy who, if it was a weight class, this guy maybe would have been, if he wasn't a lightweight, he would have been a light middleweight. And I obviously would have been in the heavyweight category.
Mm-hmm.
And in my martial arts class, I was good. Like, I was one of the better students. And I didn't go in and I'm like, oh, this guy's a black belt, and I'm not. So he knows more than me.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, he was taking it to me because I think he thought, oh, this big guy thinks he's going to take me because I'm smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So then he was just coming at me hard. And also, we had like rules of engagement. Like, we weren't going to the head or anything.
No
like
headshots or no knees.
And this guy wasn't obeying those at all.
Okay.
At one point, I took a shot like just square to the nose, just boom. And I got mad. And that was where my instructor was like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. But this guy's not. And even like the guy that hit the other school was like, dude, this guy's a green belt. Like, you need to take it easy. And he's like, well, I thought he could take it. And I was like, motherfucker. Like, we're going light and doing like nothing's supposed to be full speed.
Right.
At the same time, I'm like, If I do like go full go on this guy, can he take a hit? I don't know. I'm not going to the head. What happens if I just throw a shot to his head? Is he going to move? I mean, it started to creep in a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything though, because
Okay.
I was a good student.
Okay. I had one where I think it was one of those times where I was in like the prime of my athletic life. Like I was 21, 22,
Yeah.
and I went, and so I had enough experience of basketball and I had enough experience in where I played some people and I was thinking I was really good. And for a summer, I was at my dad's, his health club.
Okay. Yeah.
So I meet him there every day at lunch and we'd play basketball. And I would say I was probably top 3 in that team in that like group, or at least I thought myself that. And this guy, Scottie Pippen comes in.
Oh, really?
Scottie freaking Pippen comes
Okay. Yeah.
in. And it's like, he guarded me and it was like if I were to guard Gwen right now, give her a basketball
and say, go ahead.
And then just play defense on you.
Yeah.
Or even play like everything he wanted. Like it was just an annihilation to such an extreme that I went, oh, like that's the difference. Like there is such a difference. It's unbelievable. And you're just nothing you can do. You're just
they're that good. Like
that good, that tall, that big, that strong, that skilled, that fast, everything. And you're like, oh my God. And my whole thought in my head was, wow, and Michael's better than you. like, holy shit, So the other time was and Darren Hafford can actually attest to this because he got me to play a flag football game. And there was a bouncer at a local bar in Lake Geneva, and he came to play. And I remember I got a swing pass out, and I'm out on the sidelines. And I remember running, thinking, I fucking got this. And all of a sudden, I see this blurred shadow thing coming, and it's coming so fast. And I was like, I'm running as hard as I can. If I run any harder, I'm going to pull something. And this guy just caught up to me and just like slammed me down. I looked back to see how many yards I gained. I gained 10. That was it. I thought I was going to score. I was so shocked at how fast he moved. And Darren was like, holy shit, he's fast, right? And I'm like, yeah. Who is this guy? I think he was like Division I of football player at Iowa.
Well, and that's just that. Crazy. I mean, when there's
nuts.
a guy I go to church with, and he played for the Badgers. He played for Alvarez's last 2 years.
Okay.
And he played for Bielema's first 2 years.
Okay.
So those are Rose Bowl years.
Yeah.
He told me, he's like, I wasn't a starter, but he was the backup corner, I think.
Okay.
Safety or something like that. But
defensive back.
Yeah, he was a defensive back. And he's short, squat little guy, but you could tell he's thick with muscle. I remember one day just he was wearing shorts and just his calves. And you're like, he doesn't work out like he used to, but his calves are just
enormous,
massive and ripped. And just one of those things where one of the conversations he had, he was on me. He's like, dude, you've never gotten a pedicure before? I'm like, no. Have you? He's like, yes. Like he was talking.
I hear they do that. There's a lot of athletes do that.
He was like, it's the best thing ever. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Are you ticklish, Greg?
Maybe.
I don't pedicure ticklish.
I don't know. I don't think so.
So if they because what they do is they take a brush and they scrub your ankle, like they file down your ankle.
And no, I'm not gonna.
I think you should do it one day.
I think I would be okay. I don't know.
You're embarrassed?
Yeah, my feet I have dad feet for sure. Like that's not a thing I want to curse on anybody, even though I'm paying them to do it.
You think I don't like Do you have really bad feet? Like, are they smelly and stuff? What are you talking about?
No, they're not terrible, but I mean, it's like my toenails are fucked up. Like I had my toenails get ripped off every year in football. Every year. It's a lineman thing. Like your toes get stepped on all the time and cleats. It's like, practice or a game, you take your shoe off, your socks full of blood. You're like, oh, well, okay, that'll fall off in a couple of days. And they don't quite grow back the same. So
I see.
they're ugly.
Well, feet in general aren't pretty things.
I know some
They're as
people
pretty as the hand.
Some people really get into that, and I'm like, I don't get you guys. I don't get
No,
that.
I don't get that either. You talking about the foot fetish people? I don't understand.
I don't understand.
That's not my thing.
I mean, I'm not hating on you. You do you.
Hey, everybody's got to love something. So
yeah, you got to think.
But anyway, I think you should get one of those because they actually say that like there's a correlation between that and good health.
Yes. Well, being a diabetic, they very much say you got to keep track of your feet. Like that is if you get a lot of issues with your feet, that's a bad sign.
We should do a Facebook Live of Greg and I at the pedicure place.
Oh, that sounds terrible. That sounds
just to see our reaction. I am like a 5-year-old little girl, just like my little girl. When you touch her feet, she laughs her gas off. I laugh my ass off, and I'm trying to hold it in, and I'm holding it in so much, Greg, I start sweating.
Oh God,
because I'm trying not to laugh.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. Let's go get tattoos again.
I think you should do it. What?
Yeah. Let's just go get tattoos again. Like I'm fine with that, but I don't want to do a pedicure.
Yeah. So, all right, my man. Hang on, a couple of things before we get into what you do. I want to make sure I get through the notes. That was that.
So okay, I'm just
gonna stick on NFL for a second. 2 weeks ago, Jacksonville and Atlanta played a game in London. Okay. At the same time, Disney Plus took that game and you can find it right now on Disney Plus.
Right. Yeah.
And it was awesome, Greg.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They watched so when at the exact same time, when who do you call it took a throw, like when a quarterback took a pass, it was happening there. So you were watching it live at the same time, but you were watching
Toy Story, wasn't it?
The Toy Story version of it. And it was kind of fascinating. You had the Slinky as the yard marker.
Okay.
So he shot down there and get you 10 yard, like he put out the line. And I think the one or two the thing that the claw would come down, pick up the ball and place it. And then people would line up and run. And it was actually pretty cool. My daughter watched the whole thing. She thought it was great. She watched a 3-hour football game thinking it was a Disney Pixar thing.
I have to check it out. I've heard people talk about it, but I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, it also came on. It also came on at 9:00 in the morning. So it's not like it was competing against anything else. So I could easily watch it.
Have you watched any of the new Amazon Prime, their new way to watch football?
Yeah, not a fan.
You don't like it?
I don't like it for a couple of reasons. Number one, there's a huge lag there
is a lag.
The voice, it gets very digital. You can hear the voice breaking up. I've noticed that. I'm also not a fan of Kurt Herbstreit.
Okay.
Which is funny because I'm a big fan of him in college football, especially when he calls college football games. But when he calls the NFL, it's like he's out of his element. He doesn't know. And so he says stuff like, hey, did you know they went to college together? Yep. Like there's not like, it's like, well, thanks, Kurt. I never would have figured out the game with that.
I try not to listen to commentary anyway.
But actually, you know what? I haven't been a big guy on commentary, but when I listen to ESPN all day, they rip on it because they kind of do the radio thing. So they're looking and they're trained a different way than their ears are trained a different way. Just like how when you watch football, you watch the lines out, right? I watch from the quarterback out.
Well, and that's, it's helping me kind of adjust the way I watch football because they're drawing my attention to the receivers and other things. I'm like, oh, okay, seeing what's happening there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't think I'll watch every game like that, but Packers played on Thursday, so I was like, okay. So I watched that. Or
Yeah.
no, not the Packers,
Yeah.
the Bear game. I was watching the Bear game.
Oh, the Bear game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, that's just my 2 cents, and it's not a really big deal. But anyway.
Yeah.
All right, man. You had a fun weekend, right?
I did. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So why don't you stand up real quick, show off a little bit of what you got there, because I like it.
I got my new Superman hoodie.
I like it. I think it's cool. I like when they take things like that and they make it
got the nice deep hood, which I
like. Nice deep hoodie in there.
Yeah, I do.
Nice. Was it cold?
Wasn't too bad. I mean, it was low 50s, but when you're walking around and doing stuff, I will say at night. So for those of you who don't know, I took my kids to Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois. Some advertisements may say Chicago, Illinois. It's not. It's Gurnee.
Oh, it's from Chicago.
But they still they try to put Chicago on there. I'm like, that's no.
Chicagoland area.
Is it still? I mean, they're an hour and a half.
It is. I'll be honest. I think anything
before the Wisconsin border is Chicagoland.
It's the Chicagoland area. Yeah.
Well, so I'm going to get into my little review of Six Flags. But I took the kids, and the kids had never been before. They've been to theme parks, but they've never done Six Flags Great America because we never, it just wasn't something that we were going to jump and do when they were little. And so they've got Fright Fest going on, which is their Halloween celebration. And so I asked the kids, do you want to go do Fright Fest? They all said yes. They had a sale where we could get a season pass for next year. And they're like, we're going to honor it for the rest of this year. So until the end of October when they close. Yeah. And then all of next year. I'm like, it's actually not a bad deal. You do the math on it. If you go twice, then that season pass will pay for itself.
Oh, okay.
So
have you gone twice?
No, but we went once this season. We'll probably go a couple times next season. So it'll be.
Oh, so it's for 2024.
It's 2024. Yeah, it's a 2024 season pass. But they're like, but it's still good for the rest of this season. And you get, we did the diamond level pass, so you get discounts on merchandise, you get discounts on food, free one of the collectible bottles, which is just a plastic water bottle, but you can refill it as many times as you want when you're there. So overall, it was a good deal. So we sprung, and my kids that are working, they're like, we'll pay for ours, and they have yet to pay for theirs, but maybe I'll make them do it. I don't know. But so I haven't been to Great America, and I'm thinking about 24 years. I've been married 23 years, and we haven't gone since we were married.
Okay.
But we were fans in our early 20s, late teens.
That was like every month that we could, Ursula and I would go when we were dating.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd go all the time.
And the kids were like, are we going to go to Johnny's? Because we're literally 20 minutes from your house. I was like, not today.
Yeah, we weren't there anyway. But anyway.
Next year in the summer or something like that, we can plan that out and maybe make that our.
What we could is it open on Halloween?
Yeah,
Halloween would fall on a Wednesday next year.
Yeah,
so that wouldn't work out.
I don't know how that's gonna work out, but
before Halloween, we could do a thing.
I think it's open through Halloween. I don't know if they do it the weekend of Halloween or if it goes to actually the day of Halloween. But,
okay.
But then after that, they shut down for the season. So I have done, and we've talked about this on the show too, Halloween Horror Nights down at Universal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my bar. That's
God, you didn't try to grade this, did you?
Oh, I did. Because my theme park experience has been taking my kids to. We went to Disney 8 years ago.
Did you do Halloween in Disney?
No. It was early spring, April or something like that. So they weren't doing anything big. But I've done. I was on a work trip by myself when I did Halloween Horror Nights. That was 8 years ago or something like that, or 7 years ago. And then I've done Universal twice with my family in the spring for spring break vacation-y kind of stuff. So I gotta say, and preface this with my kids and I had a great time yesterday.
Okay.
it was fun. Just, it was the four of us. My wife doesn't do coasters anymore, so like Six Flags doesn't have a lot to offer
So she didn't go?
outside of coasters. So no, she didn't go.
Okay.
But it was, you know, you realize the difference of just the level of hospitality. Like people that like Universal, like Disney is like the end all be all of hospitality, right? Where like everybody, like just if you work there and so, if someone asks you a question, you're like, hey man, I am here for you. What can I help you with?
Yeah.
And then Universal is pretty much the same thing. I'm not gonna lie, Universal knocks it out of the park. Here at Six Flags, I had to ask some people some questions. I'm like, hey, can I ask you a question real quick? And they're like, yeah. Okay, am I bothering you? I mean, you had that, like, I'm putting somebody out. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you in your walking to the trash can with that thing in your hand. So I mean, I got a little bit of that feeling, but the guy, I mean, I was just asking the guy, I'm like, because they've got in front of the carousel, they've got the big, like, reflecting pool that they dyed red.
Yeah.
There's a show there that happens, like an animatronic thing with lights and sound and music. And we had just missed it. I'm like, hey man, how often does this thing run? And he's like, that's a great question. I think like every 15 or 30 minutes. I don't really keep track.
It's
like,
either
okay.
every 15 to up to every 2 hours. I'm not sure.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, man, thanks. By the way, if you're wondering, it's every 15 minutes. So, I mean, and the guy was nice. I mean, he wasn't rude, but it was just kind of like,
He's like, why are you talking to me, man?
Yeah, it was a little bit of that. He's like, I'm talking to you because you have the bright yellow shirt on that shows that you work here. So yeah, I think like if that would have been down in an Orlando resort, they would have been like, hey man, sure. What do you need, man? What can I help you with? Would have been a different attitude. Right. And it wasn't just that one guy, it was numerous people. So there was that. The way, I don't think Six Flags. Now, we also found out Six Flags Great America is the oldest Six Flags park in the Six Flags
atmosphere
umbrella. Yeah,
it used to be called Marriott's.
It was a Marriott's Great America, like when we were kids, and then Six Flags bought it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it's because it's the oldest place, but how they move people, like the science of moving people, you can tell like they just don't care down there. Like if you're in a shop in Disney, you're in a shop at Universal, just trying to get to the checkout lane. They're like, hey, if you're done shopping, checkout's right over here. And you can tell like where the queue is, where the line is. Like this is where, and it's out of the way of the other shoppers, right? Not here. This was just like when I bought this, it was just a random line that kind of snaked through the store. And people are cutting in and out. And it's like, excuse me, sir, are you guys in line? Yeah, we're in line. And then you've got all these kind of mini lines that have to merge to the checkout counter. And I'm obviously standing in line. And then one person, this woman, very nice, she goes, I can help you over here. But I'm not in that line. I'm next in this line. I'm not next in your line. But she's like, no, come over here. I'm like, oh, okay. It was just seemed a little off. And so for the people that are there, they don't care. Like, I mean, if you're not thinking about it, but I'm like, man, like the science of moving people in and out of spaces, like people put a lot of thought into that. And like Universal and Disney hire people to master that. And Six Flags is just kind of like, no, we'll just let it.
Did they have the giant ape on top of the?
No.
They used to have a giant ape that on that thing that rises,
the Stratus Tower.
Spins.
They didn't have that.
They didn't have that. They had the giant spider on the American Eagle.
You know what? We didn't go on the American Eagle. We didn't do any of the wooden coasters because the kids are like, no, that's suicide. We're not doing it. So I didn't see it on there. We walked by it enough.
You wouldn't have driven past it either.
No, because we didn't go down.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So down what I've seen in the Florida resorts, like if you have, we'll just call it a fast pass. So Disney, you know,
Fast
whatever.
Pass, Genie. Yeah.
Yep, you buy the thing that gets you in on the ride faster, so you're not waiting the whole time. What I've noticed in Universal is like they've got the regular line, you've got the fast pass line. They will let like a stream of people through the fast pass line, and then they'll stop and be like, okay, we need to let some of the other line on now. And then they let those people through. So you're still waiting a shorter time. Here, if there's anybody in that fast pass line, they get on before you. So our Batman line, and one of the times we rode the Batman, which still a phenomenal ride after 20 some years. The like if there's anybody in that fast pass line, they get to go on. So as like one group would go on, and then they're like, okay, we're gonna 3 more people come up. Nope, they get to go on before you, and so you're waiting. And then they go on, and they got to wait for the line to die down, so before they let the regulars through. But if it was just this steady stream of like a group of 2, a group of 3, here comes a group of 7, they all get priority, which is great if you're a fast pass line. But
not if you're sitting there waiting.
Yeah. If you're on the app where it says your wait is 60 minutes and now you're up at 90 as you're just waiting for them to give, you're like, come on, man. That's that, you know, the places that are much more successful for you, this is how they run it. Maybe you should copy that. So that got me a little bit. The Halloween section, the Fright Fest, right? They say there are all these different scare zones. And I'm like, okay, like 12 different scare zones. Great. Some of them are just like a bridge that they've decorated.
We're trolls.
There's like 2 people. Well, there's like 2 people in costume walking around.
You know, oh, really? 2 people now? Oh, they've kind of
just and we were trying to think of it. We were wondering if the SAG strike had something to do with that. Not that necessarily that this
I don't think so.
I don't get the idea. I don't get the idea that this is a union run thing. Yeah. It's not a screen acting thing. You're just live performers. But it didn't strike me as that there were a lot of people performing. Like it was sparse and I don't know. We're like, maybe it's just this year. Maybe they just couldn't find the actors to do it. Now the people that were doing it were giving it their all. They were good. I mean, but yeah, it was a little nuts or a little like sparse.
Mm-hmm.
The nuts part came when we're down in Florida. It's mostly families, right, that are doing this. Mm-hmm. I mean, you might have a group of friends or locals that are like, we're just going to go do this. In Gurney, there wasn't a whole lot of families. Like it was a lot of like middle school and high school kids that just came for the night.
Yep.
And it was fucking chaos. Like they got the one guy with the chainsaw, you know, just revving up the chainsaw.
You got the guy with the throwing shovels.
No, I didn't see him.
He wasn't sliding shovels. That was probably a problem nowadays.
But
guy got away with it when we were there.
The guy with the chainsaw, I mean, and then he'd like juke at you or something.
Yeah.
These kids sprinting through the crowds because they're terrified. And I'm like, one, what are you terrified of? You're at Great America. Like, this isn't a terrifying situation.
Well, I think they're more or less showing off for their friends.
But then they're sprint. Like my daughter got hit like by one kid, like linebacker shoulder checked her. And you're like, what the hell? Do you not have security like blocking some of this? I mean, this is unsafe now. And no, they didn't. And I'm like, come on, guys, like do better. So it was like being at a middle school or high school dance with a bunch of horned up teenagers chasing each other around. And then you sprinkle in some families. So I don't know. We didn't do any of the haunted houses. Because one of my daughters was adamant of not doing the haunted houses. So I'm like, okay, we'll do the scare zones because that's just like walking through. We had the bracelets because we thought that's what we needed to get into the scare zones. No, you don't need that. You can just walk around.
Right.
So we didn't need the bracelets at all. So a little bit of my dad and me, I was like, I guess I didn't need to buy these. Like that got me a little bit, but I think if we go next year, And if she was supposed to have 2 friends with her. And I'm like, I bet her friends could have talked her into it. But from 7 to 11, typical wait for those haunted houses was an hour. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you have to go back multiple times if you wanted to see all like 7 haunted houses, I think.
Okay.
So, but overall, like we rode some rides. It was a fun day. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
Interesting.
I had to reset my expectations. Like,
Well, let me comment on everything right now.
okay,
I think your first mistake was even remotely thinking it would be anything close to Disney or
Yep.
I don't think like to me it's understood that it's nothing near there. Like if Disney and Universal on a scale of 1 to 10, Great America is a 1.
yeah,
Like
I didn't
I
know that.
knew that going in there. I'm shocked you didn't know, but it's been what, 20 years since
It's
you've
been
been
20 plus years, and like in my
okay.
in my
Then
20-year-old
I'll give you I'll give you that. But
in my
that's one of the
20-year-old
reasons why
brain,
when people tell me like, hey man, you want to go to Great America? I'm like, no.
yeah, I didn't know that. Like,
Oh, I
in
thought
my,
I'm sorry. You know what? My bad. I should have I
no,
should
it's
have kind of
not, but
warned you
in my
because
20-year-old brain,
I
like,
remember thinking, well, yeah, Greg, this is Great America. And like everything you're saying to me, I'm like, yeah, that's Great America. That's why
yeah,
like we don't go.
yeah, I, I mean, I remember Great America in my 20s, and we had a great time because,
Because you
I
were in
mean,
your
not,
20s
but we weren't sprinting around
and you weren't dad.
like assholes, and I wasn't dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we go to Great America, we would get on 5, 6 coasters in a day. I mean, it was,
Yeah.
yes, you had to wait in line, but it wasn't terrible. We did 4, 5, I think.
Greg.
And it was, I
You
mean,
were in
it
your
was,
you were in your 20s, an
I know,
entire mindset complete your brain hadn't fully
developed
formed
yet.
yet.
No, we did what we did one ride. Have you ever, this gets me. The Dark Knight, the movie, The Dark
Yeah.
Knight is a
Yeah.
huge property.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, there's a Dark Knight ride. And so, and I'm trying to figure out, like, I remember they used to have a giant IMAX screen and stuff. Like, is this like an IMAX ride? I mean, what are we doing here? We waited in line 70 minutes for this ride. And I'm like, oh, it's an indoor ride. So my mind goes to like Space Mountain.
Okay.
You sit in a little car, they got flashing lights and, tunnels. And because it's a whole, like, it's the motif is you're waiting at Gotham train station.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, this would be cool. We get on this fucking janky ass, like little cart ride that's nothing but like really quick, like 90-degree turns where I'm just like slamming into the slide. I'm like, this is a train wreck. What is happening here? With some like mannequins that they put the clown masks on
Yeah.
with bad sound effects and strobe lights. And I'm like, it was something out of like a county fair ride. I'm like, this is the Dark Knight. Like, Christopher Nolan should be ashamed of this. Like, he should come in and be like, what the hell?
I think you gave them way too much
I
credit going into it.
certainly did.
Yeah.
So that, I mean, again, it was a very big level.
I'm sorry,
reset.
brother, because the reason I'm apologizing is because I thought you knew all this.
No. But like,
Okay.
I mean, the Superman ride, I haven't been there since they built that ride.
Okay.
And I was excited for it. And we're going up and I'm like, yeah, all this artwork looks like it's very 90s or late 90s. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's just what it was.
Yeah.
The ride was fun. I mean, had a fun ride on it, but like they still have some of the rides they still have there. I'm like the Biohazard ride, which is again, this like little cart where you go around in a circle. I'm like, tear that shit down. Like you could do better. So yeah.
I'm laughing because it's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm trying to think of what it would be like. I can't think of anything that when I experienced it in my, it's like going back to Whitewater Bar.
Yeah, maybe. You're like, this place is fun.
Yeah. If
this
you
place
went
is a
back,
hole.
I think if you and I next Thursday, decide to go to the Whitewater Bar on the biggest night, I think you and I would quickly go, you want to get out of here?
Yeah.
You know?
I talked to somebody recently, like within a year,
Yeah.
that was in Whitewater. And I was like, so what's the big bar down there now? Like, where do people, what's the
what is
big
it?
college bar? The Brass Rail,
Oh,
where that was like for you and me, that was a townie bar.
yeah. That was like, stay out of that.
Yeah. And like Pumpers Mitchell's, they're like, yeah, it's still there, but I mean, not a lot of people go there. Main Street has turned into like a coffee bar, I think. Like it's not even, yeah. And I'm just
Actually,
like,
that doesn't surprise me, actually.
but
I mean, that's the ebb and flows of generations, you know.
yeah,
So yeah, I remember taking Ursula down there when we were like, I was like 20. No, that's not true. Like 28, 29.
yeah,
And I remember thinking, well, this is the last time I'm going to be here.
yeah.
This sucks.
Was it was it the downstairs or the,
Yeah, it was called the
yeah,
downstairs.
yeah, where was
We used to do we used to do Pumpers and Mitchell's first because weren't they the two
they were
two different
connected.
bars, but they connected in the back.
They connected in the back through a hole in the wall.
That's
like
true.
not an actual like
Right.
framed out. It was like they just took a sledgehammer and knocked down the
Yeah.
limestone and created
Or
a hole.
somebody fucked up a while ago and went, hey, there's another bar over here.
Yeah, that's kind of what it seemed like.
Yeah, and so we did that, and then we went to the one across the street from Pumpers and Mitchell's.
The pub.
Thank you. And after that was all fine, and we'd finish the night at the downstairs.
Yeah. And I asked about the downstairs. They're like, no, that's all townies. Like that's where the townies go to hang out. I'm like,
Wow.
really? Because that was the college. Like that's where we went.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah. So I mean, and I understand the ebb and flow of all that, but yeah, definitely I needed
funny. That's funny.
The last night was just we're gonna reset your expectations. It's a big night of that. But it was fun. My kids and I had fun. We laughed. You know, it was fun. It was
there
fun.
you go. Yeah, that's all.
I don't regret it.
Yeah,
at that point, and if anybody from Six Flags is listening to this show and you want some ideas on improvements, give me a call.
There you go. Excuse me, sorry. Hey Greg, did you know that Japan wants all their giant pandas back?
Mm-hmm.
When did you know that?
I saw the news story on it. Like, this is their little passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we don't like what you countries are doing right now.
Yeah.
So we're taking our pandas back.
We were taking our pandas back. Yeah, that's exactly how I viewed it. So guys, if you want to go out there, I think there's only 2 zoos left with giant pandas until December. So if you want to go check out the giant panda, go check it out. Have you ever checked out a giant panda?
Yeah, I saw them in San Diego when I was out there.
Okay.
And
they're boring.
Yeah, I mean, everybody like the videos of them rolling around and being silly. That's when they have a camera on them 24/7 and they're able to clip out that little 5-minute thing.
Yep, because that never happens.
I saw them sitting there.
Me too. I saw them sitting there too.
Yeah.
But people, if you want to go out there and you haven't seen a giant panda, hurry up and go out and do it. Go check it out because it will be the last time, I'm guessing, for quite some time.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
I don't think they're going to bring the giant panda back. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't care. It's a bear. I mean, again, if I want to see,
they're cool.
If I want to see the cool shit, that's what you watch YouTube for.
That's what you watch YouTube.
TikTok. So
absolutely. Hey man, so we watched episodes 1 through 5 of Yellowstone, and I get it. I get the whole.
Do you?
I do.
Okay.
It's very much Game of Thrones meets Cowboys and Indians.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Americans, John. Indigenous people. We don't say Indians anymore.
We don't?
No, you don't.
What about Indians?
Definitely not. On behalf of the Johnny and the Greg, I apologize to all Indigenous people.
You know what's funny about that is
that's like dropping an N-word, John. Jesus.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
To an Indigenous person, yes, it is.
No, it's not. Because they know. Yeah, I'm not saying like, "What's up, my engines?" I'm not saying that.
Don't. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think you're a little too.
I think you're uninformed.
That's fine.
In this particular case.
I doubt any Indians are listening to us or Native Americans are listening to us anyway.
Motherfucker.
I can say Indians, by the way. That's not a bad thing.
I don't, because they weren't Indian.
I didn't.
That's
But okay,
do you know how they got that name?
no, But here's the thing, Greg.
Because
I can. But okay, so what do you call a
you're-
person from India?
exactly, that's not them.
Who?
If you're from India, you're
Yeah.
an Indian.
Okay.
The indigenous people.
So what? No. What I'm
of
saying
the
was,
Americas
it's not
were
a bad thing
Indian.
to say Indians,
But
It's
that's
not
not who
bad
you're
to-
referring to.
huh?
That's not the group of people you're talking about.
Right. Oh, so you're saying, okay, all right, I get you. I get
Like
you.
if you're referring to a man or a woman from India, yes, they are Indian.
Right.
But you wouldn't go to a German and say, "Oh, you're an Indian," because I
No.
thought I was in India.
No.
But that's how they got that name. That's how indigenous people.
Oh,
that's
because
how,
they thought they were in India.
yeah, because Columbus was a dickhead.
Columbus?
He thought he's like, "Oh, I'm in India. These must be Indians," and so that's why.
So you're okay with like the Cleveland Indians not being the Cleveland Indians anymore?
I'm totally fine with that. Yeah, I'm fine with the Commanders not being
the Redskins.
Redskins, yeah. What I don't understand is, I mean, why didn't they take your advice and just become the Pigskins? Because everybody called them skins anyway.
Yeah, I don't know that either.
That could have been fine. Did you
I
know
don't
that
think
there's
anybody had a problem? I don't think any native association had a problem with Redskins.
Oh, I think
It was white people
yeah.
that were pissed off about it.
I don't know about that, but did you hear that there is another group of Native Americans, indigenous Americans, that were suing the Commanders to go? They want them to go back.
They wanted to go back to the Redskins
because the logo, the chief that they had on the logo, they're like, that's a real person. But that was based off of a real person, and that was honoring him every time they played. And so now they want to sue them to go back, and I'm like, oh man, okay.
I wish they would have called themselves something else. The Commanders are horrible.
Yeah, that's a bad name. I don't know what focus group they did on that.
I sent you that thing. Did I send you that thing about the person like that? Now that the Redskins and the Indians have changed their names to the Commanders and the Guardians, it's time to attack every other team out there. And it was like, we got to change the Miami Dolphins because it's offensive to other seafaring animals. And they just start going off on all these fun things. But it was just funny because I think that's a little crazy. I think they're not even allowed to call it the Fighting Illini anymore. Illinois Fighting Illini. I don't think they're allowed to call that. I don't know how that would be offensive.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's offensive.
Is Illini a tribe?
I think it is. If you're saying the Fighting Illini, but you want to say maybe you're offensive because they were peaceful. I don't know.
I don't know
why that would be offensive. That's like how are the Braves not offensive? How are the Chiefs not offensive?
For that point, I mean, I think that's the other side of the coin. Is like,
it's like, where's the line?
Like the Boston Celtics and their little Irish.
What is a Celtic?
Celtic, I think, was either a region or a religion. Celtic is the wrong way to say it. It's Celtic, but they're not the Boston Celtics.
No. What is a Celtic? What's a Celtic?
Because there was such a high population of Irish in Boston that's where they.
A nod to Boston's historical large Irish population.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Anyway,
you think we're gonna get demonetized for that one?
Are we monetized? Did I miss something? Were we making money at this?
We're not.
Have you been holding out on me?
We're not. I'm just looking up because I didn't think. I guess I am informed. I didn't think engines is a bad thing to say.
That's a bad thing.
I thought it was like making fun of how they used to say it, like back in the 1920 pop spaghetti westerns.
Well, it is, but they also had really bad names for Asian people too. That you just would be like, oh yeah, that was probably offensive.
Let's see if it's offensive.
Are you Googling it?
I am, because I kind of don't believe you. I'm sure you're right, but for some reason I can't allow myself to believe you.
I work in HR. Like, I could tell you that's if someone came in and said that, we'd be like, "Ooh, buddy, no."
Well, if you were to walk up in yes, That would be offensive to walk up to somebody and call them an Injun. That would be offensive.
This is actually a pretty good opportunity. So if anybody who actually listens to this show does have indigenous descent or associations, this would be one of those great, we'd love you to have come on and educate us about this. Because even I remember when we had on that
he's talking about educate me, folks. He's not talking about himself.
I'll throw myself into that fire. But even I remember when we had when the whole George Floyd stuff was going on, and you and I were like, "Can you say black anymore?" And the people we had on, they're like, "Yes, you can say black."
Oh, it's because it's spelled different.
Is it?
Yeah, I was actually spelling it like the car engine.
Oh, it is very. Yeah, it's not.
It's
not.
it's INGUN.
It's not an engine. No.
It's an informal or dialect word of American Indian, honest Indian. Interjection slang, genuinely real. I don't know what that means. It says it's not offensive.
I could reach out to a few people, maybe.
What is the native term for a white man?
Cracker.
Wow. No, that's what I think that what the ghettos call a white guy is a cracker.
That's a bad one. Yeah.
Why is it a bad one? Mark, let me ask you a question. Would you be offended if somebody called you a cracker?
No, I wouldn't, because
exactly.
But that is at one point, I think people were offended by that. And
really?
I actually, yeah. So? There was actually a comedian, an Irish comedian that I kind of follow, and he talked about America is the great charcuterie board, in that, you've got all these different flavors of things all around, and he's like, the problem is that they're all in their own little piles. So he's talking about like segregation. He's like, you got all these great flavors that are separated in their own little piles, and then we just ruin it by just putting too many fucking crackers on it. I was like, that's pretty good. That is pretty good.
It says, what is an engine in 2023? Engine is a plural engines, U.S. slang, often but not all the time offensive. A Native American. All right.
And I've even heard people that talk about like Native Americans, and this is where I'm like, really, that's bad, but I'm not exactly sure why. So like if you say indigenous, you're safe. I'm like, okay, I'll say
indigenous that. Because you were here before.
Yeah, yeah. Indigenous people were like here. So I got a story that's gonna piss off my daughter, but oh my god, I laugh so hard.
Hang on. You can't say cowboys and Indians?
I don't know. I mean, I don't say that term anymore anyway, but
okay. Because you seem to have went like you cringed when I was
explaining. I did, but because
what it's about.
Traditionally, who are the bad guys in that scenario?
Oh, I guess, yeah, okay. Yeah. I never really even thought of who were the bad guys. I just thought, I mean, nowadays the cowboys are the bad guys. Like, look, I know white people.
How did we start talking about this? You're talking about watching Yellowstone.
Because I was watching Yellowstone, and I said it's like Game of Thrones with cowboys and Indians, and you were like, "Oh, don't say that," and I was like, "Don't say what?"
Okay, yeah, that's how we got here.
Yeah.
But are you enjoying Yellowstone? Let's go back to the topic. Are you gonna keep watching it?
I think we would. Yeah. There's a girl on there that I don't know why I find her immensely attractive.
Who?
I don't know her name. I haven't even looked her up. She here, I'll look it up real quick. She's a hot mess. Is it the
daughter?
Dude. Yeah, she's a hot mess.
Yeah.
Who plays Beth Dutton, right? I think that's her name.
Beth you are correct. She is an attractive woman. I can't stand Beth Dutton.
Oh man, she's a train wreck, but there's something so like, all right.
And there are people that I know, women that are absolutely in love with her because she's a very strong woman. She's a strong, powerful woman. And I love that aspect of her. What I don't like is that she is just one bundle of untherapied baggage. Like, has so many fucking issues that she refuses to work out, and we're caught up. Like, we like the show, and the spinoffs The spin-offs are great as well.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, they're good. Um,
Oh, because you have Paramount. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like she's a character who's had zero growth in what 5 seasons they're on now?
I don't know. I've only watched 5 episodes of season.
Don't what the Beth you get now is the Beth you will get in seasons. And I will argue this with anybody because they're like, no, she goes through this and she gets this in her life. And I'm just like, is she still batshit crazy and treating her brother like a piece of shit? And you're just like, yes. Is she still super self-destructive and all about vengeance? Yes. There's no growth. There's absolutely no growth.
She's I think it's that literally I'm a moth and she's a flame.
Yeah.
I think it's just that, like, if that girl was in real life, I was single, I would burn. I would just.
Do you remember? This is an interesting analogy. The movie A Bug's Life, where you've got the fly that's going into the bug zapper, and his friend is like, "No, come back." He's like, "I can't stop. It's so beautiful."
Yeah,
that's Beth Dunn.
Yeah,
like you see the train wreck as it's happening,
right?
And she sees it too. She sees it too, and she's like, "Not hell with it." And you're like, "Oh, come on, still." So,
hey, help me out. Is Kevin Costner a good guy? I'm sorry, underneath it all, a good guy, but he realizes this is how the empire has been built, and this is how I have to maintain it.
No,
he's not. Okay.
No,
because I'm at that part where he's like, he was tearing himself up for almost letting his grandson drown. Like, he's like, damn it, I almost lost him.
Yeah.
And he was like torn up about it, and he wants to bring in the grandson with the Native American wife that his son married.
Yeah.
Right.
Good job, John.
He wants to bring her. He wants to bring her into the house.
Bring him into the house. Yeah.
Either he's doing that because he wants to give them a better life, or is it more for control? I don't know yet. I need to watch more. But
yeah, yes to all. Like, he wants the best for his family, but he's a bad person. Like, you're hard pressed to find a good person on the show. Like,
do you think there are good people out there?
Yes, I do.
I think everybody's bad, and there are people like you and me that try really hard to be good.
Yeah. I mean, I think, when other people aren't watching, everybody's got the capacity to do a lot.
Well, you were just explaining it. You got punched in the nose and you were like, okay, I'm about to go to town on this guy. But you pulled yourself back.
There's but again, I think, I don't know, we could get into the whole philosophical, are people inherently good?
I was trying to. It's a podcast.
I know. But on this show, no, I can think of one person I consider to be a good guy.
A good guy.
And he's not, I mean, and again, he's treated like absolute shit by just about everybody.
Oh, in that show.
Yeah, in the show, until he leaves and kind of blazes his own path a little bit. And he's not a major player in the show. Like, he is, but he isn't.
Got it.
So you'll figure out who that is. Well, it's Jimmy, but
I don't even know who Jimmy is.
Yeah, if you keep watching, you'll see. And you just feel bad for Jimmy most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We really liked 1920.
1820 or something like that? Is that
no, there's 1820, and then I think there's 1923. The one that Harrison Ford's in.
Okay.
Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren play.
Are they the original Duttons?
No. So the original Dutton is in 1883, and it's McGraw. What's his first name?
Oh, McGraw, like the guy that's married to Faith Hill?
Yeah. Tim McGraw.
Really?
So Tim McGraw and Faith Hill who are married in real life are married on the show 1883, and they're homesteaders. Like he's trying to push towards they're on the Oregon Trail, but they're not going to Oregon. They're going to somewhere else. But he's a Civil War vet who gets hired on to help transport on this wagon trail. Sam Elliott's the guy who's the trail boss.
Okay.
And just the tragedies of the Oregon Trail on so many different levels. But he's Tim McGraw's character ends up in Yellowstone, and like that's where he puts his stakes down and he creates the ranch. And then in I think it's 1923 is the name of the show. The 1920s one, the one in between. It is, I can't remember, I don't know. I think it's his son, which is alive in the show, is Harrison Ford.
Okay.
And then I can't remember how the family tree goes. I looked it up when we were watching the show, where I could track it all. But then that's where the ranch is established. They are ranchers, but then there's people trying to take land and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. This whole thing started with cattle. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. But
and then we get to the Yellowstone we have now. But it's a good show. Like we slept on it for a long time. Like we just started watching it like a year or two ago.
Yeah. So when it popped up on Hulu, we were like, all right, let's see what this is about. Everybody's
and we had a couple of stops. Like we watched a little bit and then we stopped. We're like, it's not that great. Well, let's try it again. And then we get into it. So
we just watched Friday, Haunted Mansion, Disney's new one. I don't know why
that on there?
Yeah, I don't know why that got a bad rap. I enjoyed it. Not only that, the lead actor, I think his name is Lakeith Stansfield. That dude can narrate my life.
He's a good actor. I like him.
I love the way he can deliver a line. I love his voice. It's like, please narrate my life. That's awesome. Like the way he just talks, I was like, I'm into whatever you're saying.
I may have to watch that tomorrow.
It was good.
I didn't know it was out there.
It was fine. Jared Leto's in it.
Yeah. Do you know he's done a bunch of sketchy shit? Jared Leto?
Of course.
I didn't know that.
I know. He developed a cult.
Yeah. And he doesn't seem to be getting any, no one's calling him on the carpet for his behavior.
No, they're like, he's almost one of those guys where it's like, it's just Jared.
I've heard that. And my oldest daughter's like, I hate that fucking guy. And I'm like, what has he done other than he's a rock star? And I'm sure he's probably slept around or something like that. But there was an Onion article that just said it just showed a picture of Jared Leto sitting on a bench or something. It's like Jared Leto pondering if he'll ever get any consequences for his bad behavior. And I'm like, what has this guy done? So then I looked it up. I'm like, oh yeah, like a little too method acting sometime.
What are you talking about? Are you talking about what he did to Harley Quinn? Who's Harley Quinn? Suicide Squad. Didn't he send a package of rats to every one of his coworkers?
Yeah, stuff like that. I heard there's rumors that they were actually used, and some people said no, they just looked used, used condoms to his co-stars.
He sent used condoms?
Yeah, in a package he sent what looked to be used condoms, and I think the spin was, well, they weren't actually used. They were just opened. I'm like, either way, why would you do that? And he's like, well, it's just what my character would do because he's playing the Joker. That doesn't mean you get away.
No, the Joker would do that. So big time method actor.
Yeah. So I don't know. I watched Morbius the other day. And I'm like, Morbius isn't a terrible.
You watched it again. You saw it in the theater, right?
I did. Yeah. And then Kristen and I watched it the other day just because there's nothing else on. And I was like, just watch Morbius. I didn't hate it.
Oh no, I already told you about that last podcast that I saw Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse. Yeah. But yeah, I think we watched Haunted Mansion. For all of you out there who are looking for a good jump scare movie that's on Huluween, not Halloween, Huluween. It's what
so it's on Hulu.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's their streaming service. We watched The Boogeyman, and that was very good, based off of the Stephen King adaptation.
Okay.
It was really good, really jump scary. There's an actual monster in there. It's really good. I enjoyed it. I thought, oh, this is actually good. Um, Believe me, the worst part is the beginning. After that, it's just jump scare. So there's no blood and guts at all, really. Which is I like that. I'm not a big blood and guts guy.
Not a gore guy either.
Yeah, I'm not a gore guy either. So I don't need to see that. Just to give me a good scary movie. I'm all about it.
Mhm.
I want to watch the Barbarian. You told me to watch that.
Yeah, don't watch the preview though.
I tried to watch that with Ursula last night, but I fell asleep. We had our date night, first date night we've had in a long time. So we got a bottle of wine, and after the second glass, I was out.
Yeah,
So
you had a middle-aged date night.
Yeah, she got all pissed. She's like, "Are you sleeping?" I'm like, No, I'm not sleeping.
I'm so into this right now.
I love you. What are we watching? She's like, "We've been watching this for an hour." Yeah, I've seen the whole thing.
We finished Ahsoka tonight. I like.
Oh, okay.
I mean, some people said it was slow.
You liked it?
Yeah, I do. I like it. The cliffhanger is great. I can't wait for season 2.
Okay.
I was a Rebels fan, so I
haven't
understood
finished
everything.
any of that. So I haven't even watched Loki yet.
We watched that tonight too. We finished that.
Is it good? Not good?
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, it starts off, you're like, wow, where are they heading with this? And it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun.
Just so I don't know if you know, I might have sent you the information. I'm not sure if I did or not on Instagram. And when Instagram, you don't know what's actually real news and what's not. So you don't know if it's bullshit or not. But I sent you what Kevin Feige's plan is for Secret Wars. And it's a soft reboot. So they're recasting everybody after that, which makes sense. Everybody's going to be in like their 40s and 50s at that point, if not 60.
Yeah.
And they'll be done with it. So I think whatever's going to happen down the line, it's going to reset it all. So,
because
you have to.
When is Secret War? I mean, that's
maybe 6. I don't know. Now with the strike, who knows?
2023.
Who knows when all that's happening?
2030 or something.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of pictures of Beth Dutton. All right.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
All right. Yeah. All right. For all of you people out there that don't like the Cowboys, they're getting killed 42-10. Go Niners.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'll tell you this. Kate's gonna get mad, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. So, like, as a whole, I don't do a lot of possession movies. Like, I don't watch movies about possessions or like
like The Conjuring. Well, that's haunting.
Yeah. That's so I don't do a lot of those.
Like Exorcist.
Yeah.
But
even I don't do those, but even still, like a haunting movie, I really don't do a lot of. Like, it just doesn't. I mean, do I find it scary? I find it scarier than some of the other stuff. But I'm like, no, I just want like a monster movie. Like that's the kind of that I like. I've liked a couple haunting movies, like The Haunting. Like, I thought that wasn't too bad. Ghost Ship. I mean, these aren't like terrifying, serious haunting.
So you're not big into like the Conjuring universe?
No. Okay. I have no desire to watch any of that. Like The Nun or like the Insidious universe. Like, I don't want to watch.
I won't touch that. Fuck that.
Like.
Yeah, I also won't touch that one where you watch a film.
Oh, The Ring?
No. It's with Ethan Hawke. Sinister. That's what it's called. I won't watch those movies either.
Yeah.
Don't need to.
Don't. I said one with Ethan Hawke, Black Phone, I think it's called.
Yeah, is that good?
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, for a haunting film. Yeah.
Watch that one. Yeah.
That was good.
Okay.
So like my kids that are getting old enough to watch horror movies, Kate was like, "Do you want to watch The Conjuring?" I said, "No, I don't. Not at all. I have no interest." She's like, "Well, they like, because The Conjuring when it came out was like, oh, this is real. This is real."
Yeah.
And because there was this couple that like, nope, we're paranormal researchers.
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yep. And they've completely debunked the whole thing.
I was gonna say I did a lot of research into them. They're bullshit artists.
Yep. Yep. And that's Kate did too. She's like, it's all fake. I'm like, yes, I know, but I don't want to. So she watches the movie while she's at school.
Yeah.
She's at her dorm and she watches it. So she texts me. She's like, I'm watching the movie. Okay, cool. Do you like it? She's like, it's weird. And she's like, it's fine, but the guy narrates the whole fucking thing. And I'm like,
I don't remember that, but okay.
then that's why I'm like, I didn't hear that. And I'm thinking the actor who played in Aquaman, whatever his name is. Like, really? He narrates? I mean, he's got a decent narrator voice, I guess. So then she's talking about how it just kind of ruined the whole thing. Like, because she's like, it's like it's like he's walking through. She's like, and I totally lost it when the narrator was like, and they hear spooky sounds. Kate's already commenting. She's like, no. She doesn't want me to tell the story, but I'm gonna tell it anyway. And she's like, he makes spooky sounds. I'm like, and he said spooky sounds. I'm like, no.
Oh my God, she was reading the caption.
No. So then she's home, and she's telling her mom this. She's like, and he's just like this weird monotone, like there's no effort being put into it. And I'm like, did you watch it with the descriptive service on, like a blind person would watch it? She's like, what? I'm like, did you watch it like with the descriptive? Like, because when she said monotone, I'm like, no, that guy's like a decent actor. He wouldn't just do a monotone.
Yeah.
And yeah, she turned it. She said it was on, like when she watched on her computer, she was like, the subtitles were on. So she turned those off. And then she went and looked again. She's like, well, I turned him to English. I'm like, that doesn't turn it off. That just means the description's in English.
Talk to me.
So she watched the whole horror movie. Because like I don't know if you've ever done this, but like it would be like if two people enter a room, they'd be like, Greg and Johnny enter the room. Johnny looks to the left. He's surprised.
Yeah.
And so it's
Spooky
that
sounds.
Oh, she said she's commenting now. She's like, it was in Spanish first. So then she turned it to English. And then I fucking lost it for 5 minutes. Just like crying, laughing. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, I bet it wasn't real scary after that.
Yeah. They've done that where they take the music out of Halloween and you're just watching Halloween. You're like, oh my God, this is so boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that's different. But that's
when
different.
We were walking around Six Flags, they had the Halloween theme playing all the time. She's like, what music is from? Like Halloween, John Carpenter, 1978. Yeah. She's like, I think I want to watch that. I'm like, oh, this is a great movie.
Oh,
it's a great
fantastic. Film. The first one. Stay away from everything else. First one's fantastic.
And that's why I'm like, you should watch it. But I said, maybe not without the description services on. They'd be like, Michael peeks around the tree.
There you go.
I mean, that's all it was going to be.
He breathes heavily into the mask.
Yeah.
Wow. She hasn't seen Halloween?
Well, no, I don't. She didn't really want to watch horror films for a long time. And then just
I thought she like, she at least would have gone over to a friend's house at a sleepover during the scary season. And
kids don't have sleepovers anymore like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, not really. Not really. Like, I don't know what, like, when you think about going over to a friend's house to stay overnight, like, I don't know if it's just
staying up all night playing Sega.
Yeah. Nope. Nobody does that anymore around here. Maybe they do.
Are you sure your kids just don't do it? But it's still
I've talked to other parents. They're like, yeah, no, like they would, because the kid would be like, I can go home and sleep in my bed where it's comfortable. And we can still play video games all night, or we can still play Halo all night, or we can still play Call of Duty all night, because one kid's playing on his system, one kid's playing on the other system.
Really? So sleepovers are gone? They're not, I mean, is they're not as popular as they used to be anymore?
Definitely not as popular. And I think a lot of parents are just like, well, like going over to someone's house and being overnight, like there's, whatever the horror stories you can hear happen, they don't do it anymore.
There are some scary ones out there.
Yeah.
I've heard some horrible ones out there.
Mm-hmm. And all of that is avoided if your kid's just like, no, I'll sleep here, or I'll go home. Like we've had Kate's friends over here until 1 a.m, and then they're like, okay, I'm going home. I'm like, are you sure? Like you can We can blow up an air mattress and you can sleep in Kate's room or whatever you want to do. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, well, text when you get home because holy shit.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Okay. Well, Greg,
So yeah,
take us out, sir.
Oh, I should have grabbed my magnet and had it here because thank you to our friend Tony, who was down in Galena, Illinois. And he found a magnet. Do you know the picture from Stripes of Bill Murray just kind of pointing?
Yeah.
He found one. And it says right on there, the advice I say at the end of every show.
No shit.
Yeah, I'll take a
picture
of it. Show it to you.
That's cool. I got to see that. He has that or he gave it to you?
No, he mailed it to me. He bought it.
Nice.
And mailed it. I thought I posted it on our D&D stream. So
you might have.
Flip through there and see it.
There you go. So for the Greg, this is Johnny saying thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a good week. Podcast out. Take care.